Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Wednesday the 29th of January and in this educational video there's no recommendation or advice intended whatsoever. This is for educational purpose only, how to use your charts and how to use technical analysis in your trading and investment, and this is what it's for. Let's start with Amazon this morning. After a strong bounce here on Monday, it followed through on yesterday, Tuesday, and after it was broken out of this corrective phase here, it's now pushing higher, and I think we could see it pushing higher in the coming weeks. There's a little bit divergence on the RSI building up here, but on the weekly, as we can see, it is pushing higher. We are in a strong bullish trend. We have RSI back above the upper falling trend line and is likely to push higher. We have reached 240 and a bit. I think we'll see it at 250. Also, Apple that has formed this top reversal pattern and is sold off, and now we have seen a strong bounce this week here. If we're looking at the daily, it bounced from the 219.70 support area, 220 area, bounced very strongly, and is now back in the cloud. There's still negative sentiment on the RSI, so let's see if it can actually follow through on this and will resume uptrend after this massive correction change. If it moves back above the cloud, well, then I think it will push higher in the coming days and weeks. And then it's going to be interesting if it can take out its previous peak here at 260. Let's see about that. But for now, it's a very strong bounce. Let's see here the next couple of days, or will it slide back and be stuck in this range here around 230, 235. S&P 500 had a good day yesterday, almost 1% higher, very close to closing this gap up to this little island reversal here kind of thing. If it does close above 6100, I think we'll see a new all-time highs, and RSI is actually suggesting that we are likely to see that. Nasdaq 100 almost same picture, pushing higher here just at the cloud edge. If it closes back above 21,738, then it has closed this gap, and then we are likely to see it pushing higher and possibly also a new all-time high. If it slides back and takes out the lows here on Monday at 20,974, well, then the 20,538 key support could be tested. Dow Jones that had another good day yesterday, very close to all-time highs, and I think we'll see that within the next few days. A new all-time high above 45,000 is quite likely. On the European markets, we saw a strong bounce already late session Friday, and then Monday, and yesterday we pushed a little bit higher here. And pre-market we are up another 0.5%. Let's just have a look at it there. You see pushing towards the previous peak last week and all-time highs. I think we'll see an all-time high, and I think we'll see pushing towards the 5,300. So I'll remove this one for now and see if it can actually push higher. However, if it takes out the lows here from Monday at 5,129, well, then we have a different situation when we see a move lower. DAX very close to the all-time highs, very strong bounce, and let's also remove that one because it's obsolete now. It's very strong uptrend. If it takes out the Friday peak, well, then we have a new all-time highs. And here pre-market, it actually spiked a little bit higher. So we are a little bit stressed short term, so still be aware that there could be drawbacks, but for now fairly strong uptrend. Euro dollar that got rejected at 105.35, the 786 retracement here continue its decline, and if it moves back below 103.50, then we're likely to see it pushing lower towards 102 again. It needs to take out this spike up there at 105.35 to really establish a bullish trend. Cable can't really make up his mind, rejected or lost power just below the 55 moving average and the 61.8 retracement 125.40, and that would be the key to take out for further upside potential. I will remove this one. it's a little bit obsolete now. Negative sentiment still on the RSI, indicating we could push lower, and there's really no divergence, and that's indicating I think we will see it pushing lower fairly shortly, but maybe we just need a correction to finish here in the euro sterling that I think could drop to the 61.8 at 83.45 level 44 around here, and then I think we'll see a bounce, maybe spiking a little bit lower, but then I think we'll see a bounce, still positive sentiment on the RSI, and yeah, the overall trend is still up, but we are in a correction phase. So let's see here the next couple of days. Dollar yen, well, it bounced from the 50%. We talked about that yesterday, 50%, 153.75. So it's a little caught here, range bound, but as you can see, lower low, lower high, lower low, and could spike a little bit higher here. Key thing is that there is still positive sentiment on the RSI, but if it closes below the lows here from Monday at 153.75, then I think we'll see it pushing lower in the coming weeks, and RSI is likely then to go into negative sentiment. If it takes out 156.75 and closes above here, well, then we have resumed uptrend on dollar yen. Euro yen, big range here, can't really make up its mind, and it's hard to read at the moment. Sometimes we just have to stay on the sideline and wait for direction. If it takes out 159.80, then bearish trend, and 165 to the upside. So it's fairly large range, unfortunately, but that's how it is sometimes. The Aussie yen, after being sold off here Monday, we are in a slightly bearish trend, but in the bigger picture, it's a range bound, but we are below the cloud, we're below all moving averages, we are negative sentiment. I think we'll see it pushing towards 95.5 in the next few days. The sterling yen, well, reached the 61.8 retracement at 194.85, got rejected, still below the cloud. I think it will resume downtrend shortly, and the negative sentiment on the RSI is supporting that negative picture. Aussie dollar, let's have a look at that. Oh, let's just adjust the chart here after being rejected here. Well, losing steam just below the 55 moving average and the resistance here at the 63.40. Well, downtrend seems to have resumed, and negative sentiment on the RSI still got rejected here at the 60 threshold. So to reverse that bearish picture, it was just a minor correction. It seemed it really needs to close above 63.45. Then we could see a bullish trend being established. Otherwise, I think we'll see it sliding lower in the coming days and weeks. Dollar Canada still in this big range here between 142.5, 145. And I need to see a breakout before I say any direction. However, if RSI closes back above 60 threshold, then I think we'll see dollar Canada pushing higher above 145. Sterling Canada got rejected here just below the 180, still below the cloud. We actually closed a little bit above here, and positive sentiment on the RSI, meaning we could see a push above a 180 up to around 181.5, maybe 82. So, but if it starts sliding back below the cloud, which is below the 178.5, well, then a downtrend could resume. EURUSD got rejected at 200 moving average here a couple of days ago, back below 94.50. We could see it dropping to around 94 and this lower rising trend line there. However, we do have positive sentiment on the RSI. There's no divergence, indicating this is just a correction before we will see it turning around and have another push and have another go to really push towards 95.5, 90, 98 level. We have some resistance here at 95.80 coming off from this area here. So give it a couple of days, I think we'll see it turn around. However, if it starts moving below the lower rising trend line, well, then we could see it dropping back to 93.50. Then on dollar Swiss, well, really not doing much the past 24 hours after spiking lower to the 50% of this uptrend here. Back above 90.25, could start rising further, and if it takes out the 91 level and 91 at 10, then uptrend has resumed. and it will be supported by RSI moving back above 60 threshold. So let's see here the next couple of days. If it takes out and slides lower below 90 again, then we could see it push down to around 89. And the dollar index it bounced. It was a little bit weird. It spiked below the 61.8 retracement, but didn't get all the way to the 786 retracement and support at 106.39, 106.40 before bouncing. But the RSI actually also bounced up the 40 threshold. So if we get the dollar index back above 108.25, well, then uptrend is set to resume. Gold bounced a little bit yesterday above this 27-26 support area. Actually just touched the 27.30, and I think it will resume uptrend. There's still a risk it could test that, but we are in a bullish trend, and if it starts taking out the 27.86, then we are likely to see it pushing towards 2800, 2834 in this region up here, which is the 61.8 projection of the entire triangle-like pattern, and also 176.4 projection of the latest correction there. So there is potential up to that area, but if it takes out 27.26, well, then we could see it down to around 2700, 2677 level. Silver still struggling a bit, but it stays above 29.50, which is key for a potential uptrend, and 31 is the 31 is the resistance that it needs to take out. So a little bit range bound here, short term. Still negative sentiment on the RSI, as you can see, but we need a close above 60 threshold and a close above $31 here on silver to establish a real potential, a real strong bullish trend. Copper quite weak also, continues its correction phase towards the 61.8 retracement at 418.25, and I think we could see it being tested possibly today. However, there is positive sentiment on the RSI, so I think we will bounce from this area where we also have the 55 moving average giving some support. On the energy side, well, we saw WTI crude oil spike below 72.80 support to a little bit lower, then bounce, and I think we could see it bouncing further here the next few days. Let's just remove that. This is just noise. And if it starts moving back above $75, then I think we'll see the uptrend resume. The positive sentiment on the RSI is indicating we could see that, and if we get RSI back above 60 threshold, well, then it will support the uptrend to resume. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, which was around 72.40, well, then there's a move down to 71 in this region here, where we have the 55 and the 100 moving average coming up. Brent crude oil, almost same picture, didn't spike all the way down to its 61.8 retracement and support around $76. However, if it starts moving back above the $79, then I think we'll see uptrend to resume, and also supported here by the positive sentiment on the RSI. The Dutch TTF gas, while still trading around and just below this $50, so 50 euros it is, and above the trend line here. So for now, it is still fairly positive, and there's still potential higher in the coming days and weeks. On the Henry Hub natural gas, on the other hand, massive collapse yesterday, breaking below the rising trend line here, almost down to the $3 level, where we have some support. We have the 100 moving average, and we got the RSI back below the 40 threshold, now in a negative sentiment, but I think we'll see a bounce from around current levels, around $3 here the next couple of days. Bit of a surprise really, but it has been struggling. We had this bearish candle up here and another one there, so sellers were kind of in control. They didn't just follow through, but it did yesterday. So but I think we could bounce a little bit from $3 here. Moving on to yields and the US Treasury yields. Is it a head shoulder in the making or not? Next couple of days could be really decisive. Neckline here around 450, key strong support. If it closes below that level, well, then we could see a push first to a 438 and maybe down to around 425 in this region here, where we have the 100 moving average and the 200 moving average still coming up. Or will it bounce if it takes out the potential right shoulder here at 467? Always round up a little bit, 467, then uptrend is resuming. The 2-year Treasury yield, well, below the rising trend line here, but key support at around 415. That should be observed. Still positive sentiment on the other side, indicating that we could turn around and push high. We're still in a bullish trend, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. But let's see, it is a little bit being jeopardized at the moment. In the European markets, or in the European front, we have the Euro 10-year yield pushing higher after bouncing from the 245 level, or around the 50% of this uptrend here correction, and could push higher towards 263. If it takes out these lows here around 245, well, then we will likely see it down to around 238. The UK 10 just hovering around the 460 level, can't make up his mind, but if it starts moving back above 468, 470, then uptrend is resuming. Support at 450, 452, and that is key, where we have the 55 moving average coming up. And then looks at Bitcoin, not really doing much, spiked below the 100,000 and then bounced again, so it's still in an uptrend, but it's a bit fragile, I would say. It needs to take out the previous peaks here at just around 109,358 to really push higher. Ethereum, well, 3,000 key support here. Yeah, it dipped below to 29. We are in a bit of a downtrend here on Ethereum, so that's fairly weak at the moment. Really needs to take out the 3,527 to really establish a bullish trend. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you later.